Being a good partner means first of all, being a friend and being supportive, being there to encourage that person to follow their dreams.
Unconditional love. I think that's no matter what, that you're there to support that person and be encouraging.
It is trust. It is honest and open communication. It is safety. These are the things that actually constitute a good relationship.
If you know that your wife has got something really important to say, put down the book or turn the telly off the sport and listen.
To let the other person in to what's going on for you, I think that's really key.
Someone who is compassionate. I think caring for me as a partner is really important, but also caring for other people and humanity is really important.
I guess someone who acknowledges that just like me, they have their faults and misgivings.
As a man, I think we're often expected to show care and love in particular ways as gender dictates, and I think for me it's about thinking about your partner. It's about showing concern and expressing love.
Men and women have exactly the same capacity, I think, to be loving, to be carers, to go out and have a career or to stay at home and be a homemaker. I don't think there's really a big difference there.
You know, that's a journey for me. Sometimes I feel like I can be a little bit withdrawn. You know, when I'm dealing with things or I'm feeling stresses or anxieties.
We need to work on those to, you know, strengthen our relationship, and that we need to do that respectfully, knowing that we're both coming from different backgrounds and had different experiences.
I think falling back on those kinds of gender stereotypes can be pretty harmful because it excuses inequality in a relationship, and sometimes that can lead to pretty poor outcomes.
When things get out of control, I think it's about how you express that and how you do it in a way that's safe for your partner.
It's really around being good, respectful people to each other and enjoy the love that you have.
Being a good father is really modelling a good relationship in the home.
My father was a good role model. He was a gentleman, and he treated my mum, he treated her really well.
Understanding that for your kids, you're the model for men in the world. So taking responsibility for your values as a parent, I think, is crucial.
And also it's about being there, you know, so when they need you, you're there. It's not about, it's not about being too busy to spend time with them.
To be fair, consistent and reliable, or somebody that the children can really trust and go to if they're ever feeling worried or concerned.
I really try and encourage my kids to do whatever they like, regardless of their sex. So both my kids know that I think they're beautiful, and both of my kids know that I think that they're intelligent and that I value that. And I think that's a really important thing for dads to try and do.
So to have a father who can think about that and see that there's real positive in both male and females being able to be warm, you know, considerate, and also being able to have those traits that are predominantly seen as male traits of being strong and powerful and strong in their decisions that they make, that actually they're skills for life, whether you're a boy or whether you're a girl.
Guide them, talk to them all the time, and encourage them to share their feelings.
And that gives them a sense of safety in the world so that they know they can push back when they have different ideas, and that that's okay to have a differing opinion, and they get to learn from that position of, as children, what it's like to be a father and a mother and a child when they grow up as well.
Being supportive and loving to the kids, I think, is really important, and making sure your kids know that you love them no matter what.
Being a good friend, to me, it's about being there for your friend. It's also about when things get tough in your friendship or you disagree, it's about being able to tell the truth.
Being accountable to each other, just checking in with each other to make sure that we are on the right track.
Knowing that when I need them, they're there. And I like to think that my mates know the same thing about me.
I think a good friend opens up about his insecurities and is able to share some of those deeper emotions, I suppose, with his friends.
I don't think there's any difference between males and female friends, you know, it's what I want to see in the quality of the people that I socialise with.
Not only just catching up for, say, a beer or going for dinner or something like that, but having kind of a deeper relationship where that's somewhere that they can talk about their relationships.
Loyalty comes to mind too, someone that's there, like you might not always be around, but someone that's available and has your back. I think that's really key.
I want a male friend who can say to me, you know, I noticed this guy, you know, the guy you're with speaking to you in a way that wasn't okay, and I don't think that's all right. So I want a male friend who's able to recognised when other men are using intimidation and violence.
Somebody who acts and behaves in the same way, whether or not they're with male company or female company, is probably a more honest and respectful person and therefore a better friend.
And I think that any relationship is around boundaries and respecting those, and also treating women with the respect that they deserve.
It's about being able to call when things aren't necessarily going well, so you can build the strength in your friendship.
We all need to make errors, we all need to be vulnerable, but it's about having the courage to say, whoops, and I won't do that again, and I won't stand silent when I see other men do that.
For me, it's about understanding that domestic violence results in the death of almost 2 women a week in our country, which is a distressing and horrible statistic. And at the same time, knowing that there's things that we can do and action that we can take in all areas of domestic and family violence, not just physical violence, but in terms of control, financial, social and emotional that goes with it.
So taking those chances to say, I don't agree with that, or if there's something in the media that I've seen that's happened, bringing that up. I think just keeping that on the agenda.
Find ways to, you know, just to say, look, you know, I just don't think that's appropriate, and have those conversations with our mates, with our friends, with our colleagues.
If someone has come to me and has disclosed domestic or family violence to me, one of the most important things that I will do is first of all believe them.
I know that I would feel comfortable enough to stand up to those guys and say, listen, I think that's crossing the line.
Understanding that yes, men do experience violence too, in same-sex partnerships, but also in opposite-sex partnerships. And at the same time understanding that women are predominantly the victims of domestic and family violence in our country and across the world. So accepting that truth as a man helps you to take leadership and take steps and action to do something positive about it.
Saying it in front of a camera is quite easy, but actually, you know, stepping up and doing something about it is a lot harder.
Men generally can avoid talking about the hard topics about, say, mental health or domestic violence or family violence. They're not pleasant things to talk about, but I think that they're conversations that need to happen.
For men to get involved is to actually start to model and show what a good man can be in relationships. And it's so important that they're involved because they actually need to change.
I think men can find it threatening to know that the behaviours that perhaps they were brought up to think of as normal are now seen as socially unacceptable. So I think in order to challenge the behaviours behind domestic and family violence in instances where it's committed by men, I think men need to be brave and to make decisions to change the way they think about the world, which definitely isn't an easy thing for anyone to do.
We really need to be thinking about, you know, ourselves initially. How do we treat, you know, women, and how do we, you know, paint a picture about what it looks like to be respectful and edifying.
Don't stay silent, men. If you see something that is inappropriate, I encourage you to speak up. Call out that behaviour.
In calling out the bad behaviour when you see it, calling out and questioning that and supporting victims of domestic violence. So attempting to make change to your culture and in your relationships. So it's about seeing it as a serious issue and also seeing that as a man, it's important to take leadership and take action in doing something to combat it.
Often men who perpetrate violence against women have a disregard for women just as a general whole. So they're much more likely to value the opinions and the expressions of men rather than women.
And so to have men who act in particular ways against violence actually supports men who choose to use violence to think about their behaviour.
Because when you model that appropriate behaviour, people will see it, they'll tell other people, they'll be impressed. That'll make a difference.